Welcome to the Global Council powered by One. I am Subarna, and in today's episode, we are discussing a subject that often makes or breaks trust in business: forensic finance. With me today is one of our founding partners at One Global, C.A Shareesh Gadde, a chartered accountant, certified fraud examiner, and director at Shami Business Advisors in Bangalore. Mr. Sharish, instead of me reading a long resume, why don't you go on and tell our listeners who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Subarna. Hope you are doing good. So, as you mentioned, I am Chartered Accountant, Certified Fraud Examiner, Cost Accountant from Bangalore. My work revolves around forensic audits, regulatory due diligences, and strategic compliance consultings. So, I had the privilege of leading various investigations of large organizations, ranging from procurement fraud to designing internal control frameworks where it can prevent the frauds. I also enjoy teaching and simplifying complex financial concepts and designing of training materials for various corporates on fraud investigations and preventions. I believe forensic and governance should serve people, it should not intimidate them. And I am also coming up with a very simple book for corporates and professionals on forensic, like corporate forensic, which is about how you prevent frauds than you recover after a fraud has occurred. So almost 75% is done expecting by this November. So this is brief about me.
Okay, that is great to hear. I'm so excited and looking forward to your book. Okay, so people often hear the term forensic audit and most don't know what it really means. So, Mr. Sharish, in the simplest of way, could you tell us what forensic audit is and why does it matter today?
Okay. So we all know what is audit. It's about reviewing certain transactions or reviewing certain cases. So forensic audit is not a routine financial review. Correct. So it's a deep dive investigation like into financial transactions, cases, records, which is the intention to detect whether there is any fraud or is there any misconduct or is there any regulatory violations that has happened. Generally, forensic audit, we perceive it as a financial misconduct or there is a financial fraud or is there any financial violations like regulatory violations. So then a need of forensic audit will come into picture. And forensic audit also can be conducted before a fraud could happen, like for prevention of certain issues. Like nowadays, vendor payments, many corporates usually comparing it with benchmarks, all those things. Like we recently had one of the forensic audit where one trust we have posed as a purchaser and compared the rates with the rate which was been giving to the vendor. Then we understood that there was so many issues, billing issues or so many rate comparison, all those things. Then the procurement team got caught. So this is how forensic audit, it's more than prevention than you detect it. And audit did not just expose the fraud, it led to criminal proceedings and complete revamp of companies vendor onboarding process or whatever process they are into. In today's scenario, forensic audits matter more than a business. Big businesses are exposed to complex risks, cyber frauds, shell transactions, ESG misreporting. It's not just about catching some fraudsters of what damage is already done. Okay, it's about building systems that prevent fraud, protect reputation, and ensure ethical governances. So this is about forensic audit.
All right, so if I currently understand it, it's not just about catching the crooks after the damage is done. It's about protecting the business before it ever happens. So that
Correct.
is really powerful as in a concept.
Yeah.
Now, no company lives in just one country anymore. So we have SOX in the US, GDPR in Europe, SEBI and MCA in India. So, Mr. Sharish, how are these global rules shaping the way businesses think about compliance and internal controls?
Correct. So, as per me, Subarna, global compliance frameworks are reshaping how companies think about governance, not as a burden, okay, but they are thinking it as a strategic advantage. Take SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley Act in the US. It mandates internal control testing and CEO or CFO certification of financials. That's in US. But in Europe it is GDPR, which ensures strict private data privacy norms. In India, the controls everything is same, but organization is different, that is SEBI and MCA, which push for transparency in financial disclosures and board governance. I worked with a client who has expanding into Europe from India because they already had these set of data policies, principles, and vendor due diligence, all those things in place. They could be able to get a major contract in Europe because all the systems procedures was same, which was aligning with the global regulations. So their compliance wasn't just legal, it was a business enabler. Mostly businesses think complying with certain regulations have cost, all those things, but these frameworks are just converging. You shift to any country global, if you have certain base control setup, and a company that is SOX compliance often finds very easier to align with Indian regulations or Europe regulations. So this is the base for it. It's becoming a global language of trust, so that your frameworks should be in place. And companies that embrace this mindset and better positioning for cross-border growth, investor confidence, and long-term resilience. So that's how I see global compliance frameworks.
All right, so compliance in one country then is like a passport that opens doors to another. Like it's like a global language of trust. So technology is rewriting every rule of the game. AI, data analytics, automation, even forensic tools, spotting what humans miss. So how do you see technology reshaping audits and investigations?
Yeah. So nobody is exception to the technology, as you mentioned. There is no exception. Everyone has to go with the technology. So in forensic audits also, it is revolutionizing very fast. We used to take weeks. Now it is taking hours. We may tell after 6 months, it may take minutes also for certain analysis, all those things. In one of the internal audits, we use DRP logs and AI based anomaly detection to identify a pattern. Payments were being split just below approval thresholds to bypass scrutiny. Manual sampling would have been missed it, but system has flagged it instantly. That is how technology is being used. Digital forensics tools can trace mails, IP addresses, transaction trails across all the systems and provide you the report in a minutes or in a hours. Data analytics can detect outliers like vendor billing more than an average rate or normal rate. Automation can help reconcile thousands of entry in just a minutes. This is how technology is reshaping. The audit room today is not just about ledgers and spreadsheets, it's dashboards, head maps, and behavioral analytics. Auditors are becoming like a data scientists, and that's a good thing because fraud is getting smarter, and so we also should.
All right. So what I picked up from this would be that it's not about ledgers anymore, but it's a pattern. It's a behavior and the digital footprints that we're talking about. The audit room looks a lot more like a data lab now.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get practical. If I am running a mid-sized company, what are the red flags I should look out for? And what are the few simple steps leaders can take today to cut fraud risk?
Yes, yes, Subhan. So many mid-size entities coming into India, generally when they approach us, they ask us, we are mid-size entities, why we need all those things, or we are just starting the entity, why we know we have to implement certain fraud prevention frameworks or certain compliance frameworks, all those. But as per me, mid-size companies often assume there are too small to be targeted, but that's a myth. In fact, they are more vulnerable because controls are often informal. All mid-sized entities works in informal way. That is gives a more chance for a fraudster to actually think, how can I make money out of this, informal way of process. So generally red flags includes vendors with similar bank details, employees with overlapping role who works both in finance and procurement, sudden spikes in reimbursements or petty cash expenses, invoices without supporting documentation, ghost employees. You see in one of the case we found ghost employees drawing salary for 18 months. HR and payroll systems was not synced at all. So there was no, formal mechanisms. A simple reconciliation between HR and payroll system should have been prevented it. So this is certain red flags. To reduce fraud, companies should implement maker checker workflows, rotate duties periodically, use ERP systems with audit trail, conduct surprise audits, verify vendors through site visits or physical verification or audits. Even basic steps like documenting approvals and training staff on ethics can save a lakhs to MSMEs. Fraud prevention is not expensive, it's about discipline and culture. So, this is what I feel.
That is gold. Like unusual vendor activity, ghost employees, weak controls, like simple things, but they save companies millions, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So finally, let's look ahead. 5 to 10 years from now, what does the future of forensic auditing look like? And if you had to give one piece of advice to companies that want to stay resilient, what would it be?
Yes, so future of forensic auditing will be predictive. It will be more on ethical side. We'll see AI, like AI, we all know AI, how it's been very fast. So it might flag risks before they occur, like when a vendor billing is changing, then suddenly the patterns is changing, then AI might, recognize it. Compliance dashboard show real time. ESG metrics will be auditable along with financials. So this might be the future, but technology alone is not enough. Ethical leadership, board accountability, whistleblower protection. These top management mechanisms will be the central. Fraud prevention will come into picture more than anything else. My one piece of advice is not to wait till a crisis comes. Build controls for the businesses very proactively. Educate your team. Treat compliance as a strategic enabler than you tick as and when a process is being done. You don't need to be a checkbox ticker. You should be a proactive in various implementation of the frameworks. So this is my thought on this.
All right, so tech, ethics, and governance hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's the playbook for the next decade, I feel. Right. Mr. Suresh, thank you. Thank you for such a clear lens on forensic finance in today's business world. And we really look forward to the book that you were talking about and, update all our audience with that as well.
Yeah. So my book is on mostly on future forensics, like corporate forensics on the future. So it speaks about digital forensics. It speaks about how AI can prevent certain frauds or something. So I'm coming up in the November. Let's see if One Global can give us the opportunity. We can
Sure, sure.
present it there as well.
Yes, yes, yes. It's like a deep dive into the topic that we just discussed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so this was the Global Council powered by One. We really look forward to meeting you in Barcelona. And until then, stay sharp, stay global. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Suresh.
Thank you, Suvan.